welcome back to Finding Wendy. Thanks again for joining me this week on my Finding Wendy YouTube channel. And I'm really glad to see you here. It's your first time. Welcome. So I'm going to be talking about my updates and some NSVs this week and basically what I've done this week and more updates to come. So stay tuned and I'll be right back. So first some updates about my stats. So I started this whole journey December 2017. I weighed 450 pounds. And then I started my Optifast on February 20th, and I was 400 pounds. Then on March 20th, 2018, I had my bariatric surgery. I had sleeve surgery at Toronto Western Hospital with Dr. Timothy Jackson, and I weighed 375. Last week, I weighed 275, and this week, I weigh 275. So I expected that I wouldn't lose any weight this week because I lost 5 pounds last week. So that's okay. It's up and down, you know how it goes. You can stall for a week or two or stall for 10 weeks or 2 months. So, anyways, those are my stats. So I've now still lost 175 pounds, which is quite amazing. So I was going to talk about some updates once again, just to remind everybody. I think it's really, really helpful to have a journal and to write every day in your journal if you can about your feelings, what you're doing, your appointments, your experiences, and things like that. So just first off, my NSVs. I played with an orchestra for the first time in several years. When I was weighing 450 pounds, there was no way that I could go with my horn on my back to a gig. It was just too difficult physically wise. I couldn't do it. Because of my size, I couldn't hold my horn properly. And last week, for the first time, I went to play with a community orchestra, and it was quite a nice repertoire of Rachmaninoff, Bruckner, Schumann. And so here you see a picture of me with the horn section, and it was great fun. I had no problem. The horn was heavy on my back, but I walk with 2 canes because I have like it's a gig bag, so it's this big. So this is what's on my back, and so I'd say with the horn in this case, it weighs at least 30 pounds or more, and that's a lot of weight on your back. But I lost 175 pounds, so I should be able to carry 35 pounds on my back. So I've been a lot more busy with this weight loss, which is great. I'm doing a lot more activities and going to more concerts. A good friend of mine, I was invited to her private concert birthday party, and her kids, who are full-grown adults, played for her. Her son is a French horn player playing with the Canadian Brass, Jeff Nelson. Suzanne Nelson, a good friend of mine, we met in Holland. She's a bassoonist with the Boston Symphony. And then a flutist, another sister, Lisa Nelson, who is a solo flutist in London, England. And so all 3 of them were there for their mums, as a surprise for their mom's 80th birthday. I was invited as well because I know the family really well. And it was a lot of fun to go to this event. And here's a picture of us all at the church. And so then I basically have been teaching this week. And I went to a concert last week. The Mississauga Symphony Orchestra played a concert in Mississauga. So my NSVs include then playing with an orchestra, carrying my heavy horn on my back, and I'm able to also wear some shoes I haven't been able to wear in a long time, my Blundstones. And here's a picture of me in my Blundstones, and they're Australian boots. And Toronto has now, it's now winter, and we got snow last week. And so the snow season has started, and you definitely need boots in order to get around in the city. And there is a jacket, a fake leather jacket that I haven't worn in a long, long time, since the last time I lost a lot of weight, back in 2009. I turned 50, and that's when I weighed 230 pounds, was the least amount I weighed. And I wore this jacket then, and I tried on this jacket again this last week, and it fits, which is a huge NSV for me. So I have some older clothes that I haven't worn in over 10 years. Or 10 years, and luckily I've kept some of the really nice things, and now I'm starting to fit in them again. So that's really, really fun. Like I said, I've been doing a lot more activities. This week I have something every single day. I'm teaching on Thursday. I have my bariatric support group meeting, and that's something I'll report about next week. Very interesting. The upcoming bariatric support group meeting is there's a specialist coming in who works for Toronto, the Toronto Children's Hospital. And she works in the obesity clinic for children, and she's coming in to show us some exercises that she does with young people. So the Children's Hospital is for young people from 18 years and younger. So she works in the obesity clinic at Toronto Children's Hospital, and so she's going to show us some exercises in the support group meeting that's coming up this week on Wednesday, the 21st. So I'll report about that next week. I had my mindfulness eating interview on the phone on Monday. It was a very nice phone interview. And in this phone interview, she was basically asking me some important questions, my takeaway on what I learned from the mindfulness eating program. And the biggest thing that I learned was the enjoyment of food, slowing down, making right choices, not to not eat certain things. Like, I mean, yesterday, for example, after the concert, I'll give an example. I was in the bar talking to some musicians with the orchestra, and there were these little bowls of popcorn on the table. And I thought, okay, I'm going to have a bit of popcorn, and I'm not going to feel guilty about it. I know how many carbs are in it. I know how many calories are in it. It's about 80 calories, not very much. And, you know, just don't go overboard. So that's basically something that I've learned from the mindfulness eating program. And so, yeah, I had some very positive effects and feedback about how to slow down your eating, put your knife and fork down after every bite, chew as long as possible. Before the concert, there's a buffet restaurant there in the Mississauga Living Arts Center, and there's a restaurant there, and I went to the buffet. And though it was very expensive because I can only eat small portions, I really, really enjoyed the food. So I had roast beef. I haven't had roast beef for the longest time. And it's something that, you know, you just don't make yourself when you live alone. You don't make a giant roast beef roast. But when you go to one of these buffets, they have, of course, always roast beef. And I had some shrimp, and I had some salmon, and I had a lot of protein, and then I had some vegetables, and I had one teeny potato, roasted potato. And I took my time to eat it, and put the knife and fork down after every bite, and really savored every single piece of food. And it makes a big difference. It makes a difference when you slow down. It makes a big difference when you realize it. But I had my back to the dessert table. And of course, when you have a buffet, there's a giant dessert table as well. So I finished what I could of my meal, and the waitress was taking away the plate. And she said, so, okay, so you're going to go have some dessert? And I said, nope, I'm not going to have any dessert. And I was okay with that. I said, but I would love a cup of coffee. So that's my dessert. Having something that's mocha sweet after your meal. And I waited, you know, a good 30 minutes before I actually sipped on that cup of coffee after eating. Because you know the 30-30 rule. 30 minutes before, 30 minutes after when you drink something. And I really enjoyed that cup of coffee. It was a delicious cup of coffee. And then I went off to the concert, and that was a lot of fun. So it was a great night out. So anyways, that's it for now. That's my update for today, Sunday. Today, the big Santa Claus parade is here in Toronto, and and it's pretty cold. It's 1 degree. So I guess that's 33 Fahrenheit, 33 or 34 Fahrenheit. And there are like 200 or 300,000 children lining the streets just a block away from my house, saying hello to Santa Claus. So our big Toronto Santa Claus parade is like the Macy Day parade, but we don't have giant balloons like they do in New York with the Macy Day parade, but we have lots of big floats. We have lots and lots of marching bands. We have a lot of American marching bands that come up to also perform in the Santa Claus parade. It's a lot of fun. I highly recommend it if you are in the Toronto area. So anyways, thanks for following me. Don't forget to subscribe and like my video, and we will see you again next week. And happy Santa Claus Day. Okay, talk to you later. Oh, and St. Nicholas arrived in Holland as well, because I'm Dutch as well. I'm half Canadian, half Dutch. So St. Nicholas arrived in Holland with his helpers. And so it's a big, I love this time of the year. Festive feelings. Love Christmas, love Christmas. We'll talk to you soon. See you next week. Bye-bye.